Well, finally tonight, a lot of industries have struggled during the pandemic, as we know, but the booze business has been thriving. The Verified team did find that alcohol consumption has been up during the pandemic, and while some Western New York businesses have been forced to close, week after week there are stories of the brewery scene in Buffalo expanding, and a lot of those stories are coming from our guest tonight, Tracey Drury, who covers restaurant news among many other things for our partners at Buffalo Business First. Thanks for coming back, Tracey. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So I want to talk first about your story today. What is going on with what should be the latest addition to the Larkinville neighborhood?
Yeah, absolutely. But there's another brewery that's planned. This one is coming to again, Larkinville area. And it's 4 graduates of St. Francis High School, 4 friends that just started making beer together at home during the pandemic and thought it was something they wanted to turn into a business. So they've leased some space, and we should see that hopefully by this summer, assuming the licensing and the permitting goes through as planned.
It seems like a theme that I've seen that again and again, where there are people who have just decided, let's start a brewery. And it seems to be a trend for sure. It's been growing a lot. I know you cover restaurants. You've seen a lot of the COVID struggles firsthand as far as that goes. But there's this news today. Just within the last few weeks, there's news of a new tenant for the former Resurgence space, a big expansion plan for Big Ditch, a new tap room on Main Street in Williamsville. Would you say that things have gone differently for breweries since the start of the pandemic?
I don't know that it's different from other types of food and restaurant businesses. Most of these places have a restaurant or food component. Everyone has to eat, of course. And when you look at places, even with high density like the Elmwood Strip, Elmwood Village, Williamsville, there's a restaurant or bar on almost every corner, and they all do very well. So I don't know that we've reached the point yet where there's too many. We asked that same question back in May when we had done a series of stories about Iron Island Brewery and Southern Tier Brewing that came to 716. And these new places open up and they seem to do pretty well. So I don't know that there's too many or that they're doing better necessarily or worse. Some of them are also taking space where other places have closed. So I think that's an ongoing cycle.
I wanted to ask you about that too, because what little I do know of the brewery industry, just with doing some stories myself, is that they pride themselves on it being a very collaborative kind of industry. Do you think that's something that certainly helps out with them being able to continue and to be able to grow?
Absolutely. And again, that's something that many of these developers have told me. They're interning, they're studying with other breweries, and they all really help each other out. It's it's not as competitive as you might think, the way some other just
Well, it looks like we unfortunately lost Tracey there. That was Tracey Drury. She reports for our partners at Buffalo Business First, and we appreciate her insight on the growing brewery industry in Buffalo. It certainly does continue to grow, and of course, it's something that we will continue to follow as well. But we